He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. Like I said, we have a terrific conversation lined up now with Rhonda Gamble. She developed an effort called the Mask Response Factory. She's got a long history of public service in Hancock County. She grew up in Hancock County, and she's going to be our next guest. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning.
It's good to see you. Thanks for connecting with us via Skype.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So people may hear during this conversation something in the background. What is that? Just tell them what that noise might be.
That's sewing machines humming. We've got
that's the sweet hum. That's the sweet hum of a terrific relief effort serving the community. We're going to get to the Mask Response Factory here in just a second. Isn't it interesting though, Rhonda? You grew up in Hancock County, so obviously, you've seen a lot of disasters over the years, not the least of which is Hurricane Katrina. And here we find ourselves once again in the midst of something that's challenging our community. But in this case, instead of Hancock County being ground zero for the worst natural disaster in American history, everyone in the world is facing this. What's your thoughts on kind of where we are?
Well, we're not unaccustomed to stepping up when people are in need. And between the oil spill and hurricanes and other issues that we've had in our communities here on the coast, this is just another in a long list. So we just deal with what we have to deal with, step up to the plate and do what we have to do.
I think you said it so well. I mean, we've repeatedly said in conversations that I've had with my guests that it's literally in our DNA to be resilient, to sort of face the situation that we're looking at, and then doing what we have to do to get through this. This one's odd in that we have preparation and then we have response. So we're in this elongated response. We don't quite know what the other side looks like yet, and then at some point we're going to be in recovery. So in this case, this was an effort by you guys to do something that was literally in the midst of the response, and in a way that as healthcare professionals and others need the mask. We're going to get to that in a second, but you've got a history of public service, don't you?
I do.
What's your background? Tell us about that.
Well, I've been involved in public service literally my entire life. I grew up in a family that was dedicated to public service. My parents were always giving back to the community. They were always involved in public service. The high school that I went to, we did public service all the time. So it's just what I know. It's what I've always done. I was 11 when Hurricane Camille hit, and my father had to, after it was all over with, my father sent us out so that volunteers could come take over our home and stay with him there. He was worked for utilities, so that was my first taste in a disaster, dealing with a disaster, and we've had to deal with a number of them since then. So I've always been very involved in doing what I can for my community. This is my family. This is where we were raised and where we're going to die.
So you were the Hancock County court clerk as well.
I was the first Hancock County Justice Court clerk. I was.
Man, well, it's great. So you've got terrific experience in working and forming nonprofits, and just a long list of amazing accomplishments over the years. So why don't you tell us, how did you get the idea to start the Mask Factory?
I have a cousin who works for a local nursing home, a nursing facility, and they immediately sent the call out looking for somebody who could sew, who could make a mask. So of course they called me because I've been sewing my whole life. So I started sewing, and I quickly saw that the demand far exceeded what I was going to be able to do alone. So I created a Facebook group called Mask Response, and it just went crazy. We've got close to 500 members on there now. And we have people that are sewing masks in all of South Mississippi, Greene County, Pearl River County, all along the coast, just everywhere. These people have stepped up like I've never seen before. It's just been amazing.
Well, it's Tish Williams said of you that you can literally do anything. You can cook anything. You can do anything. That you're one of the most industrious people she's ever met. Where did all that come from?
I don't know. I guess my parents. They were very active. Always very active. My father and my mother both were always involved in the community, in community service. My mother was very involved in the American Legion Auxiliary. She went all the way to be Mississippi State President for the Auxiliary. My father's involved in a number of different community organizations. He was president numerous times of the American Legion here in Bay St. Louis. So they've always been real involved, and we just grew up doing it.
You just grew up doing it and learning from the ground up so many different aspects to life, and now you're using it today. How many sewing machines are in the background working as we speak?
We have 8 machines set up. Right now we've got 6 going, and we kind of took a page from the Ford factory and we set it up as an assembly line. So you don't even have to know how to sew to be able to come and help us do this. Each station has one job. And so we start the process and go from station 1 to station 2 to station 3. And we're cranking them. We're really starting to crank them out now.
And I noticed that you're doing this in a way that's super safe. You're practicing social distancing, and you're very focused on making sure everybody stays safe. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, everything has been sanitized. We've got all of our stations set up 10 feet apart. We have hand sanitizer at every station. Every day, the entire station gets sanitized. All the machines are sanitized. And we've got everything set up in accordance with the recommendations from the CDC. So things are working pretty well. We don't put in more than 10 people in our facility at any time. The doors stay locked. So if someone comes and there's already 10 people in here, we go to the door and deal with, whatever they're here for. A lot of people are coming. They're still making masks at home. Those people who can't get out, who are self-quarantined, they're making masks at home. So when they get a certain number made, they'll bring them and drop them off. So we're just rolling from house to factory.
So when did you get started? When did things get started in earnest?
It was about a week ago that I got the first call to start making masks. And
so how many have you made?
We have gotten outwards about 500 maybe.
Wow.
We've delivered about 500, maybe a little more. We have called, though, for over 1,000. We have one facility that requested 100 a day. So
wow.
There's a tremendous demand. Hospitals and facilities are running out of their clinical mask. And so when they're testing, they have to give the patient a mask. So the masks that we're providing, they're made such that a filter can be added to them. They have a pocket in them where you can add a filter to it. So those are the masks that they're giving the people who are coming in to be tested, and that kind of gives them, saves some masks for them for the clinical use. So
you can see, the president yesterday talked about 3M. They have a plant over in China. China wasn't letting them ship those back over to the United States. And of course, we see a lot of hoopla about that. But the reality is that there's a short supply around the world. Governor Cuomo, I noticed when I walked out on the break, was doing an update, and he said the mask used to be less than $1, and now they're like $5, $6, $7 each. And that so that's a demand and supply kind of thing. But it is awesome that you have done this, and that you're going to just keep doing it, I guess, until people tell you we don't need them anymore.
Yeah, as long as there's a demand, we're going to keep doing it. And we don't charge a penny for our mask. And people have stepped up and given us donations of fabric, of thread, of elastic. They've given monetary donations to help us buy the things that we need. So we don't charge a penny for anything any mask that we give.
So Rhonda, we're at the end of our time together. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining me, and congratulations on your commitment and all of those volunteers that are working with you. What an amazing story. Good luck to you guys, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having us.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.